pick some winners and then we say, let's go. So come on. It's time to watch the show. We're talking hardball.
Welcome to a latest live edition of Betting Weekly Hardball, part of the Betting Weekly studios in the Bet Rivers family. I am Adam the Bull. He is professional bettor Chris Macero, and we are here for Betting Weekly Hardball today, even though it's a light schedule, Chris, just 4 games, one that's almost over in those 4 games. But we will talk about some division prices, some World Series prices, a lot to get to. There's always plenty to get into. How are you today, Chris? What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a rough day on Wednesday. Very frustrating day. I gave out 3 games. I went 0 for 3. That was a first bagel I've taken in a while, and I'm still seething over the fact that the Rockies had 2 runs in the first inning, and I couldn't get over 4.5 team total runs at Coors. I'm still shocked about that. But I've been playing these unders in the day games, the early day games. If you've noticed the last couple of days, yesterday I went 5-1. Today we got the under in Oakland or Sacramento and Washington. It wasn't looking good early, 3-0 in the second, but it's slowed down tremendously. It's 4-0. We're at the top of the 8th. We're under 8 runs here, so hopefully we can close that one out, and that would go to 6-1 on early day game totals to the under.
Damn.
Which is, it's been a good trend. It's just, the teams seem like they just want to get out of town, get to the next city. And these early day games have been trending under most of the year.
I would think especially for the bad teams. But Jacob Lopez pitching a gem for Oakland or for the A's. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 8 Ks. They just did score another run as I speak. Tyler Soderstrom just hit his 21st homer, a solo shot. So it's now 5-0 A's in the top of the 8th. But what is the total there?
8. We're under 8 for the game.
Okay. So you're still in good shape, but it is 5-0 now. We'll see if they let Jacob Lopez keep pitching. He's at 90 pitches, or if they go to the bullpen. But
he's been a sneaky good over K-prop guy. He's been he just finds a way, even though he doesn't pitch a lot of innings. He just has a high strikeout ratio. Pretty sneaky pitcher that the A's have.
Yeah, he's been it's under the radar because obviously they stink and nobody's paying that much attention to them. But to him, but he started the season as a reliever, but since he's become a starter, he's mostly been good. He had what's funny is his first start, he pitched an okay game. A good game actually. His first start was in May, and he gave up just 1 run to the Phillies. And then his second start, he got smoked, gave up 7 runs in an inning, 2/3. Then he gave up 5 and 4 1/3. But since then, he's been mostly good. He did give up 5 in 5 innings against Texas a few weeks ago. But since June, he's mostly pitched pretty well. And he's doing it again today. And as you said, with the strikeouts, he's had some big strikeout games as he has again today. I don't know what the prop was for today, but he's got to be over it because he's got, 7 strikeouts in this game, I think I said?
Yeah, he was 6. He was 6.5. That
Right.
Ballpark Pal app projected him for 6.5, so it was right on it. I didn't play it. Just sometimes he doesn't go long in the games, but he has been going over the strikeout prop. So good for him, and hopefully they can close this game out with not too many more runs.
There you go. It's 5-0 top of the 8th, and he has 8 strikeouts already in this one. If you have something you want to send our way, a question, a comment, a thought, your pick, put it in the YouTube chat, and we will get to it. Also want to let you know that coming up at 4 p.m. on the College Sports Rush YouTube channel, Jimmy Ott and Paul Stone preview the 2025 SEC football season. College football right around the corner here. Chris, are you a big college football bettor?
Huge college football fan. I like to get involved in the future markets early. This year so far, building a lot of future parlays with Clemson and Alabama, 2 teams that I felt were very good value at double-digit odds to win the national championship, and 2 teams I definitely think will be in the playoffs. So that's the first step. You got to kind of figure out what teams are going to make the playoff and at what odds do you think makes sense instead of betting someone like Texas or Ohio State who are probably going to make the playoff. But I just have a lot more questions with those teams, and I know a lot of Arch Manning fans out there. They have to, they're already anointing him the Heisman winner. He's a huge favorite already. I just got to see a little bit more from him. And I think there's a lot of, changes at Ohio State. No offense to, I know you're an Ohio State guy, but I just feel like there's a lot of changes, some questions at quarterback. I'm not even sure if they have the right guy as the starter at the moment. So we'll see. There's a lot of things in flux at Ohio State. It's tough to repeat.
And by the way, 3 preseason NFL games tonight: the Colts at the Ravens, the Bengals at the Eagles, and the Raiders at the Seahawks. Do you bet preseason football?
No, not necessarily. Although there are some decent angles this weekend with Cincinnati finally saying they're going to play their the full starter lineup. Burrow's going to finally play in a preseason game. We've seen this. Yeah. We've seen the ridiculously slow starts from the Bengals the last few years. They just can't seem to get out of their own way in September, and they end up setting themselves in put them in a big hole to climb out of. And hopefully that changes this year if they're going to play the guys. I felt like one of the angles I looked at last year were the teams who did not play any of their starters in the preseason seemed to get off to a very slow start last year. And the teams that did play their starters, whether they were good or bad teams or projected to be good or bad teams, they seem to play pretty good week 1. So that's something to look at, see if a team is just kind of mailing it in the preseason. Maybe they're not going to be ready to play week 1.
A lot more football coverage coming up from Bet Rivers and the Betting Weekly studios. We'll have some things we'll talk about down the line. But let's get back to our baseball picks. Again, we'll keep an eye on the A's Nationals, see if they can hold on to that under 5-0 in the top of the 8th. 3 other games going on today. The next game to start will be about 2 hours from now. The White Sox and the Mariners. Obviously, the Mariners playing really well right now. They'll face Shane Smith, the Rule 5 pick. He has not been as good lately after he got off to that great start. He got hurt, and he has struggled of late, but overall has had a nice season for the White Sox, one of the very few. He'll face Logan Gilbert, who, you came into the season thinking he would be a Cy Young candidate, and he's been, not terrible, but he's been a little up and down as the season has gone. So he pitched a solid game against Texas last time out, 3 runs, 5 hits, no walks, 7 Ks over 6. Obviously, the Mariners playing well. I guess if you're going to bet on the game itself, you'd have to go Mariners or nothing. But anything for you in this game, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 games, I really liked Seattle, but I just didn't play it because the price was so big. And, they ended up winning. They'll probably win this game. They've won 3 in a row. The White Sox lost 3 in a row. The White Sox are 22 games under 500 on the road, only 18-40. And Shane Smith, he's had some flashes, but 2-4 with a 4.25 on the road. So not something you really want to, you don't want to get in front of this Mariners team right now. It seems to be clicking on all cylinders. They're hitting a little bit better. Julio Rodriguez 1-3 versus Smith with the home run. The only guy who has gone deep against Smith, if you're looking for a home run prop. I guess it would be, Mariners are pass, but at minus 335, I'm probably just going to pass on the game. If you want to maybe pop it into a parlay or something like that, they'll probably win the game. But, at a price that big, I'm just not going to be involved.
Any props here? Maybe a Logan Gilbert strikeout prop consider or no?
Yeah, well, Gilbert's he's pitched really well at home, 2-2 with a 2.27. I'm not sure what the strikeout prop is. I get frustrated with those strikeout props.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're sailing right along, and they decide this day and age. And I don't know if you watched that no hitter attempt yesterday.
Oh yeah,
where they left him out there, and it was crazy because he had 111 pitches after 8 innings, and no one was warming up. They were going to let him finish the game, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
But when he got to 118 pitches, something came across the screen, and it said, "This is the most any major league pitcher has pitched this year for pitches." And that kind of just blew me away. It's just like,
that's insane.
The old days, you'd see 135, 128. So now it's like these strikeout pitchers, these props, you could have a 5.5 or a 6.5, and the guy's got 5 or 6 after 5 innings, and they just take him out of the game because he has 89 pitches or 95 pitches. So I try to steer clear of them. They frustrate me, but Gilbert has pitched good at home. Seattle probably just gets the job done here. I mean, I can't really see the White Sox putting up much of a fight. I think they're going home after this game. So, maybe it's one of those ones where they try to get out quick, and maybe it's an under type of game because, it's an early start on the West Coast, not East Coast time, but early start in the West Coast. Maybe it's another one of these unders.
I could see I kind of like an under prop on Shane Smith's strikeouts. You can get under 4.5 strikeouts at -103. He's only struck out more than 4 once of his last 4 starts. He's not been going deep into games. The Mariners are on fire. I'd consider that. I'd stay away from the Logan Gilbert strikeout prop. He usually gets 7 or 8, but over 7.5 is -167. You could get plus money on over 8.5, but that's too much, and so I'd stay away from that. I think that's the idea for me. All right, let's get to the next game here on the docket, and that's the Reds and the Pirates. That game's starting at 6:40 Eastern. Brady Singer is going to be on the hill for Cincinnati. Singer 6 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts his last start against the Braves. In fact, he's only allowed 1 run and a total of 9 base runners in his last 2 starts against the Braves and the Rays. Game before that, he got destroyed by Washington, but overall he's pitched really well, has Brady Singer. And he'll be opposed by the great Paul Skeens, who, although he has a 2.02 ERA, obviously has a losing record because the team just never wins for him. But the Pirates played a little better of late, and they're better at home. They're actually over 500 at home. What do you make of this game?
Yeah, it's another one where you think, hey, if the Singer that we saw every other game except the last game was around, that Pittsburgh's finally going to score, and this looks like an easy win for Pirates and Skeens. But I don't know. I had the under I had the over in the Singer in the last Singer game, and that didn't get there because he pitched great. I mean, he's a Jekyll and Hyde type of guy. When he was with the Royals, he had, at some point they were saying he had like Cy Young stuff, but his ERA just on the road is 5.73, and I'm just not comfortable back in Cincinnati. They're a very streaky team. Both of these teams off a loss, so I don't have a play in this game either. This is like I was texting you before the show. It's just some ugly games today.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Nothing I can really sink my teeth into. I guess you would probably the one thing I did notice is that Skeens is stayed in the game. He had that stretch for like 4 or 5 games where he's only pitching 80-something pitches and not going past the 5th inning. The last couple of starts, he's been into the 90s. So maybe you look at a strikeout prop because Cincinnati has a propensity to strike out, top 7 in the Major League Baseball in strikeouts. So maybe you look for a Skeens prop. I think it's 7.5.
Over 7.5 is -117. So I would consider that.
I would. Another thing you can consider, because 22 straight starts, Skeens hasn't given up a run in the first inning, and the Pirates don't score many runs. So the Nerfy is, you probably have to lay some juice. I haven't seen what it is, but 22 straight starts, he hasn't given up a run in the first inning. So you pretty much, guaranteed that Skeens isn't going to give up a run. And can Singer get through 1 inning versus the weak hitting Pirates lineup? So that's something maybe to consider in the game. I don't have a play on this game. It's an ugly card today. I'm just grasping at straws to find some action here.
Skeens in July, by the way, in 27 innings, had a 0.67 ERA, 36 strikeouts, 3 walks in 27 innings. He did struggle in his first start of August, though, at Colorado. Gave up 4 runs, including a homer and 7 base runners in 5 innings. But even in that game, he had 8 strikeouts. In terms of if you're going to bet the over 7.5, he's gone over 7.5, in 3 of his last 5 starts. But as you said, he was the last couple of starts they've let him pitch more. He went 99 pitches against the Diamondbacks on July 27th and 94 against the Rockies, even though he wasn't pitching great on August the 2nd. So something to keep in mind there. Folks, you can win $100 bonus bet today from Bet Rivers. Enter the social media exclusive giveaway on the Bet Rivers Instagram account for your chance to win $100 bonus bet. Go to @BetRivers on Instagram and enter now. So there's no cost. It's only potentially winning money. There's no downside to this. So if you're on Instagram, if you're using the Bet Rivers app, if you're using the Bet Rivers website, go onto Instagram @BetRivers and your chance to win $100 bonus bet. Let's see. Adam Osimo says the Blue Jays beat the Rockies 45-6 in 3 games. They finished with 63 hits. I saw this. It was the most by a team in a 3-game series in 125 years. I mean, that is 63 hits in 3 games. That's 21 hits a game. That's insane. That was wild. I hope somebody made some money on that series betting on the Blue Jays. I don't know.
It escalated. It escalated quickly too.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2 of the games, the Rockies had the lead. Yesterday it was 1-0, and next thing you know, it was 10-1, and then 20-1.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was frustrated from a fantasy baseball standpoint because I have 2 players on the Blue Jays, and both were out of the lineup yesterday, so I didn't get take advantage of that. But what are you going to do? Adam also says he likes a parlay of the Mariners money line and under 8.5 in Cincinnati, Pittsburgh at -105. What do you think of that? Mariners money line. Sure.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like we said, the Pirates. I mean, on a good day, they get 4 runs. So you figure Skeens is 1.87 ERA at home.
Yeah.
As long as he stays in the game at least 6 innings. The bullpen on the Pirates actually has some decent young arms. They battled through yesterday and got some big outs. So I could see that. I could see that being the highest scoring of that game, maybe 4-3 tops. 4-2. So I could see that. Yeah, it's a way to get some action on this Mariners game because laying 335 is not what I'd like to do on a regular basis.
By the way, how about this? This is crazy. I don't know if you're paying attention to I know you got the under in the A's Nationals game. I'm not sure if you pay. So the A's got a run in the top of the 8th to make it 5-0. They got out of the Nats got out of a jam. So the under was still looking good at 5-0. We were talking about Jacob Lopez. I was asking the question, would he start the 8th inning? He was at, I think, 89 or 90. He was at 90 pitches to start the 8th inning. The first batter of the bottom of the 8th was Nathaniel Lowe. Now, Jacob Lopez struck out Nathaniel Lowe to start the 8th inning. But take a wild guess as to how many pitches there were in that at-bat.
Well, I had the game cast on one of my phones, and I looked down, and there was it looked like I don't know, like what are those with the old game there where they would bomb the naval ship, whatever. They looked like it was like 17
Battleship,
Battleship. It looked like there was like 17 or 18 dots on the map.
There was. You got it. 17 pitch at bat. He fouled off like 8 pitches. And they finally struck him out on the 17th pitch. So he started. We talked about Gavin Williams went 126 yesterday. Lopez starts the 8th at 90 pitches, strikes him out in 17. And he's still in there. He just threw his 111th pitch and has a 2-2 count. So, it's late in the season. They're out of it. I guess they're not worried about his arm. He's got 9 strikeouts. Which is pretty wild. And now he's doing at least a 6 pitch at bat for the next batter. The last game that we've got today involves the 4th worst team in Major League Baseball. You might think I was talking about the Marlins, but in fact, I'm talking about the Braves. They have the 4th worst record in baseball. It's not a surprise if you've been following the season, but if I would have told you that in the beginning of the year, you would have thought I was crazy. They're 19 games of under 500. They are only 2 games ahead of Washington for the 3rd worst record in baseball. They've got a completely washed up Carlos Carrasco on the hill against Yuri Perez. The Marlins lost yesterday, but they're only a game under 500. And they have a better record on the road than the Braves have at home. I mean, the Braves are just hideous, Chris.
Yeah, the lines in the Brewers series the past 3 nights have just been mind-boggling. And I played the Brewers last night, and I couldn't believe I was getting plus money with Quintana against Strider. And like I mentioned last week on the show, Strider is getting priced like it's 2023.
Yeah,
the guy hasn't been good all year. He just and they're not hitting. And since Acuna bet went out, they've been a train wreck on offense. It's just not scoring any runs, not pitching well, not doing anything well. Their road record is atrocious. Their home record's under 500 now since they lost the last 3 games. And, you're trotting out Carrasco, who's only had 7 starts. He actually pitched halfway decent last game, but he's got a 5.68 ERA. I don't expect Atlanta to do much. I feel like Atlanta just might go into this ridiculous slide and
Oh yeah.
have no fun. I mean, obviously they're horrible as it is, but I really think it could get worse. And Yuri Perez for the Marlins has pitched pretty good. 4-3, 2.70 on the road, 3-1 with a 3.18. So I would be on Miami here. I haven't played the game yet. Braves have lost 3 in a row. Miami's won 1 in a row. So maybe you get a continuation of the streaks there, and you just kind of ride Miami, who's been, Miami's been a regularly decent team since the last 6 weeks of the season. They started out slow, but they've had their streaks. They've had they had a nice long winning streak on the road. They're getting decent pitching, and they got a bunch of young guys who, they're hanging around. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs. We discussed this a little bit. They're still 6 games out of the wild card or 5.5 out of the wild card. So that's probably not going to happen. But I would be on Miami or pass here.
Yeah, you mentioned that since Acuna's been out, the Braves have been particularly bad. They also lost Austin Riley to the injured list again. Marcell Ozuna's been terrible. They've been a total disaster, and I think you're right. We see late in the year, you'll see teams like the Marlins, young teams, play really well, don't make the playoffs, but they're feisty. They give the good teams a hard time. I think the Braves are the opposite because they're a franchise that's used to winning, and it's just all gone bad for them. And I think it's going to continue to do so. It wouldn't shock me if they ended up below the Marlins, below the Nats and finished in last place in the East. I don't know the last time that happened, but that would not surprise me. I think they'll end up with only a better record than the White Sox and the Rockies. I think that's it.
Well, think about this. 2 of their pitchers in their 5-man rotation currently are Fetty and Carrasco.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's bad.
Those are 2. I mean, that's borderline Rockies, like Senzatella and Freeland. I mean, these guys are just, they shouldn't be in the majors. It's shocking that the Braves, who before the season were one of the 2 or 3 top choices for the World Series, are trotting out Carrasco and Fetty as 2 of their daughters.
It is hard to believe. Sign up for the newsletter at bettingweeklystudios.com for weekly betting tips. If you like what you hear on our shows, sign up for the newsletter. Get exclusive tips in the Free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. They're going to the 9th in Washington. The A's up 5-0. So hopefully there's no big rally of runs in the 9th inning. The Nats obviously will get up in the bottom of the 9th. They ended up pulling out Jacob Lopez after 7 2/3, no runs, 3 hits, no walks, 10 Ks. He threw 114 pitches. So I think that might be the second most pitches of the year now?
Yeah, correct.
And he ended up with 10 strikeouts, and then Justin Sterner came in, and he got a strikeout as well. So the Nats have struck out 11 times through 8 innings. A couple other comments in the YouTube chat. City by the Bay says he's going with the Braves. Oh, the Braves over team total 3.5. Also a small play on the White Sox over 2.5 on the team total, minus 120, just like the last 2 days. Those are bad teams, but low team totals, obviously. I know you took a team total on the Rockies yesterday. What do you think about his move of Braves and the White Sox on the team total over?
Listen, I just think the White Sox are they just want to get out of town. They're flying back to Chicago after the game. Gilbert's a big strikeout pitcher. I could see a lot of early swinging and missing, and I don't know. I'm not going to be betting many team total overs in that park in Seattle, especially against a big strikeout pitcher like Gilbert. I mean, maybe it's only 2.5. You only need to get 3 runs, but I can see this game being a quick one, in and out. One of those 2-hour and 8-minute specials, and they're back on the charter, back to Chicago before you know it.
All right, that's it for the games. We will keep you up to date on that game, the A's-Nats game, if you got the under. Or if you got the over. Either way, we'll keep you up to date on what happens in the 9th inning. But let's get to some future bets here in Major League Baseball. And let's start with the division winners. You've got some thoughts on the National League West, where the Dodgers, as of this moment, are minus 1,667. The Padres are plus 650. What's your thoughts here, Chris, on that?
I think this is a completely incorrectly priced market. The Dodgers have been a under 500 team for a while now.
Yeah.
They have absolutely zero bullpen. Their lineup is Ohtani and sometimes Max Muncy and sometimes Freddie Freeman, and not much else. Mookie Betts is hitting 220. He looks like he forgot how to play baseball, or he has that lingering virus that he got at the beginning of the season. He looks. I mean, he's never been a big guy, but he looks so small out there. It's like his waist looks like it's like a 20-inch waist or something. When his pants are so, it's just something's not right with him. And the starting pitching, I guess Yamamoto and Glasnow they're 1-2, but Kershaw's, he's up there in age. And, Ohtani, is he going to be able to stretch out long enough? And I've mentioned this on the show before. I believe that as soon as Ohtani came back and started pitching 1, 2, 3 inning games, it's been a major tax on the bullpen, and it's affected the bullpen. And the guys there's been injuries and there's been overworked. And then you got the back end starters who aren't that good either, who are only going 4 or 5. They got Sheehan pitching 4 innings, and then the bullpen comes in. So the bullpen is overworked, and it's not responding, and they got some injuries. Tanner Scott's hurt. So they have a lot of question marks. And for them to be minus almost 1,700 at Bet Rivers for the division, who's laying that price? I get it. Maybe they don't want any more Dodger money because they have a lot, but at plus 650 for the Padres, they're only 2 games out. The Dodgers have to play Toronto this week. Then they go to Anaheim. Then they play at home against San Diego, 4 against Colorado. Then they go to San Diego. So in the next 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, the Dodgers and Padres are going to face each other 6 times. Anything can happen. If you remember last year, playoffs, Padres had the Dodgers dead to rights, and then they didn't score a run for 26 innings. And the Dodgers end up winning the World Series. I mean, that was could have been the other way around. So I think there's some great value with the Padres. Me and Doug discussed it on the show a couple of weeks ago. I was over in Scottsdale for a few days. First bet I made was Padres plus 1,100 to win the division. I tied it to in a bunch of future parlays with a bunch of college football teams I like for national championship. And when you throw in a plus 1,100 that comes home, you don't need much else for those parlays to really explode. So I'm pulling for the Padres. I'm in an interesting quandary, though, this week. I need the Red Sox and the Padres for the divisions, but they're both playing the teams opposite each other. So we got the Blue Jays playing the Dodgers. And I want them both to lose. And then we got the Red Sox playing the Padres. I want them both to win. So we'll have to figure it out. Hopefully after the weekend, maybe one of the 2 teams goes 2-1 and, we don't get any sweeps either way. So we'll see. But, I just think there's some really good value on the Padres. I also think there's some pretty good value on the Mets, even though they've kind of collapsed lately.
Yeah.
They're plus 270 at Bet Rivers, and the Phillies are minus 400. I mean, that seems pretty steep. Just 10 days ago, the Mets had the lead by half a game. And then the next 10 days, the Phillies have to go on a 10-game road trip to Texas, Cincinnati, and lowly Washington. But it's still 10 games on the road, and then they come back to face Seattle for 3. So that's a really tough 13-game stretch. Meanwhile, the Mets are at Milwaukee, tough spot for 3, but then home against Atlanta, Seattle, back against Washington, and then back against Atlanta. So I think the schedule favors the Mets a little bit over the next 10 or so days. And then on August 25th, the Mets host the Phillies for 3. So a lot of moving and shaking in that division in the next 2-3 weeks. But I think plus 270 for a team that was just up 10 days ago and is only 2.5 games back is some pretty good value considering they still play each other again. Yeah. And the schedule favors them in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. It's funny. You could say a lot of those same things about the Cubs and the Brewers in the Central. Obviously, the Brewers are not as big a favorite, and the Brewers have been playing just amazing baseball. They're minus 250 after the Cubs were favored for much of the season. The Cubs at plus 188. I might be a little biased, and I don't obviously like how the Cubs are playing right now. But we all know in baseball, seasons ebb and flow. And if you look at the Cubs' schedule the rest of the season, first of all, you got to put your eye right to this. The Cubs and Brewers have a 5-game series the week of August the 18th. 5-game series. They have a doubleheader on Monday and then play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 5-game series between division rivals is huge. Besides that, the Cubs play St. Louis, Toronto, Pittsburgh, Angels, San Francisco, Colorado, Atlanta, Washington, Atlanta, Tampa, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, the Mets, and the Cardinals. That's a lot of bad teams that they're playing the rest of the season. And Milwaukee's got, like the Phillies, Milwaukee's got a tougher schedule. Now, it's hard to argue the Brewers because the Brewers are playing so great. And I like their rotation a lot, but they're going to cool off at some point. It's just the nature of a baseball season. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes in both those divisions the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I like the value on all the prices there. I mean, the Mets, the Cubs, and the Padres. I mean, even if you bet $100 on each one of them,
yeah,
even if the only one that came through is the Cubs, you're only going to lose $112. So
that's true.
You could get lucky and sweep all three of them. I just find that the Dodgers pricing is so out of whack.
It's crazy, yeah.
I mean, we discussed it a little bit off air.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the NL odds, they're plus 130 to win the National League. I mean, that's the most absurd thing. How is that possible? I mean, when you get into the playoffs, you would just bet them in the series and roll it over 3 times or 2 times, or however it matches up. I mean, to bet the Dodgers plus 130 when the whole team seems to be scuffling, injuries, bullpen terrible, not hitting. I mean, that'd be crazy. I guess the sportsbooks just don't want much more money on the Dodgers. But I mean, there is some good value in the National League. I mean, you can look at a team like the Brewers. The Brewers are plus 600 at Bet Rivers for just to win the pennant.
Right.
I mean, best record in baseball, best run differential in baseball, hottest team in baseball, one of the best home records in baseball. They have trouble in the playoffs every year. That is the big question mark. Can they finally break through? But I would rather be on the Phillies at plus 420 or the Brewers plus 600 well before I'd have any interest on the Dodgers at plus 130.
By the way, the A's have tacked on a run in the top of the 9th on an RBI ground out. They have a runner on first and 2 outs. But now 6-0 Oakland, or 6-0 A's in the top of the 9th. Let's take a look at some of the division prices in the American League. If you look at the East, the Blue Jays are minus 225. Your Red Sox plus 335. I know you got them. The Yankees plus 420. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the Yankees at all. I'm completely staying away from them. But the Red Sox at plus 335 would be something I know you've got your eye on, certainly, and I would as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it gets a little tighter. I have a bunch of things that are finishing to the Red Sox division. So I'm just hoping it tightens up a little bit. So maybe I can get a little bit more of a hedge on Toronto.
Yeah.
Or if I could get Toronto and the Dodgers to pull back a little bit. You can do those. You could do a future parlay where I could take Toronto and the Dodgers in a parlay, because then no matter which way, if I get one of them, if I lose that parlay, that means one of my other things obviously hit. So it's just a different way to hedge. But you don't want to hedge on too big of a number. The Dodgers being, minus 1,600. That's crazy. I mean, if the Padres tie the Dodgers this weekend, is it still going to be minus like 1,200 for the division?
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. I agree with you on the Yankees. I want nothing to do with them. They were lucky to get that win yesterday. And there's some interesting games coming up. Boston only plays Toronto 3 more times. And the Yankees only host Toronto 3 more times. So Toronto, Boston, and the Yankees, they only play each other very limited. Boston does go to New York for 4 games at the end of this month, so that's a little exciting. Boston's on the road at San Diego, like I mentioned, tomorrow night. Then they go to Houston. Toronto has a tough stretch, though, coming up. At the Dodgers, home against the Cubs, home against Texas, before they hit the road for Pittsburgh and Miami. Yeah. So tough little 15-game schedule for Toronto. I'd like to see where we are 15 days from now. Maybe the Red Sox are 1 or 2 out, or maybe Toronto just keeps going crazy. This came from pretty much out of nowhere, and I don't think many people at Toronto winning the division.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be at that Cubs Blue Jays game on Wednesday, August the 13th next week. So I'm looking forward to that. And it'll be Kevin Gossman and Cade Horton, who hasn't given up a run in his last 4 starts. So that should be fun. All right. Elsewhere in the American League. Okay, let's talk about the American League Central here for a second. The Guardians have quietly, under the radar, been cutting into that huge lead. They've played really well since the last week before the break. Now, I've been killing their offense all season. It's been much better since the last week before the All-Star break. They've mostly played bad teams during this stretch, but they have played the Astros and they swept them. They just played the Mets and they swept them at plus 1,900. I mean, I think I got to consider at least a $10 bet on the Guardians to win the division.
Well, 100%. I have some futures from really early in the season. I remember talking to Jimmy Ott about this, and he had me on his show and asked me who I liked as the season had just kicked off. And I go, you know what? I really like the way the Tigers are playing, fundamentally sound, great manager. They got the ace, they got some young hitters, and it was looking perfect for a long time.
Yeah.
They're up 14 games at one stretch earlier last month, I believe. I feel like before the All-Star break, they were up 14 games. And, they went into a tailspin. No one's been hitting. The pitching's been terrible besides Skubal. So I have them for division at plus money, some sizable bets, and I have them for the AL at 11-1. And now I'm a little nervous, but I'm with you. I'm probably gonna have to put something in tomorrow morning when I get I'm going over to Vegas tomorrow morning, just as a little bit of a hedge because, it's only 6 games. And you said they just played a bunch of bad teams. Well, guess who they're playing the next 9 games?
Bad
White Sox, the White Sox, the Marlins, and the Braves. Not exactly.
And then the Diamondbacks after that.
Yeah, not exactly murderous row.
Yeah.
And I don't know who Detroit can beat. They're looking terrible. They're giving. Yeah. How is Minnesota putting up double-digit runs against them? Minnesota's got a double-A lineup, and they can't get anyone out. Mize has been a disaster lately. They're really missing Job, out for the year with the injury. And Skubal can only pitch every 5 days. So they got to tighten it up quick, or 6 games with 40, high 40 games to play is not that much. It sounds like a lot, but I remember as a kid growing up, hey, if you could cut it to 5 by September 1st or by Labor Day, you have a shot. So we're only at August 7th. There's a long way to go.
Finally, the American League West, the Astros have not been playing well, but they're still the favorite at minus 125. The Mariners have been playing well. They're at plus 120. And then you got the Rangers at plus 650. What are you thinking about there right now?
Yeah, Seattle's been the hot team. I feel like Houston's overachieved, and I feel like Seattle or even Texas still has a shot to win this division. Houston's only up by 2 over Seattle and 4.5 over Texas. Texas does not play Seattle anymore. Texas plays Houston 6 more times, and Seattle plays Houston 3 more times. Houston's got a really tough schedule at the Yankees, Boston, Baltimore, and then at Detroit. Seattle's playing Tampa, at Baltimore, and at the Mets. And Texas is hosting Philly, Arizona, and then goes to Toronto. So some tough schedules for a bunch of these teams. It's a Wild West. I don't think it's over by any stretch of the imagination. I would probably play the Mariners and for maybe 2 units and then a unit on the Rangers, because I really think the Astros have overachieved and they've been kind of on the downtrend for a while. They got off to that really, really good start, and then they were really hot in May, where I think they had the most wins in May. That bet that we do every month, they had the most wins. But since then, it's been a lot of questionable things. The pitching hasn't been as solid. Hunter Brown hasn't been as solid. Framber hasn't been as solid. And the hitting, definitely overachieved early in the year. They lost a lot of bats, Tucker and Bregman. So I feel like they've overachieved, and I feel like they're ripe to, kind of give it up. They're only up by 2 games. Seattle's been hot. They made all the moves at the deadline. I think Houston's going to give up this lead.
All right, 2 final things here, Chris. The game is now final. The A's beat the Nats 6-0, so the hit on the under there is official. And finally, we mentioned this game. We mentioned the preseason football briefly earlier in the show, but City of the Bay and Adam Osimo were asking what we thought of the Ravens tonight, that they're big dogs. I think don't they have this ridiculous record of winning preseason games? I think they've won like so many in a row. The Ravens are a 6.5-point dog in their preseason game tonight. I haven't really been paying attention to this. I guess the Colts will start, they're having a quarterback competition. So maybe some of their, Daniel Jones and what's his name? Oh my God, the first round pick they drafted a quarterback who's been terrible.
AR-15, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, right. Maybe I guess those guys are going to play, and I'm sure Lamar Jackson's not, so that's why they're a dog. But the Ravens do have this weird streak of winning in the preseason. Any thoughts on that?
I think the streak ended last year
or
the year before. Yeah, they won like 23 straight games in a row. I'll tell you one thing. I have a small bet. I bet. So all these moves in the games where the information came out that so and so is going to play, and then the line moved like 4 points the other direction. I played some small bets on all the moves the other way because I just don't feel like this little soundbite here and there really is going to move the line 4 points. And I'll tell you one thing. Who is betting Anthony Richardson as a 6-point favorite over any team? I will give you my take on this Colts team. I think they're going to be a total disaster. When you have a quarterback controversy between Anthony Richardson, what did he play? Like 11 total college football games?
Yep.
Can't stay healthy. He's addicted to Skittles. We learned this offseason, and his controversy is with Danny Dimes.
Yeah, who stinks.
He's just a walking interception, turnover machine, fumbles, interceptions. Can't read a defense. He wants to run immediately. This is a recipe for disaster in Indianapolis. I played their win total under 7.5. You can find that at plus 100. You don't even have to lay juice. I love the Dolphins first week against them. I have no idea why the Colts are getting any. The Colts got some money in this game. The Dolphins were favored early. I think it's down to a pick 'em. Yeah. I just can't see it. I mean, if those are the two quarterbacks you're going to war with, and there's a controversy, Anthony Richardson and Danny Dimes, your team's in a lot of trouble. You probably don't remember this, but in week 3 or 4 last year, the Dolphins went to Indianapolis. They put up 280 yards rushing on Indy's defense. They somehow lost the game because they fumbled twice inside the 10-yard line. I feel like this is a huge revenge spot. I know this is a baseball show, but I'm very big on the Dolphins. Everyone's against them. I think their offense is going to light up the Colts week 1. And I'm very low on the Colts. I love their under win total 7.5. I can see them finishing last in this division. And I don't know if they have it at Bet Rivers or not, but the team with the most losses, I think Indy's has a potential for that. I don't see anything going the right direction in this Indianapolis team.
Yeah, I think they stink. I think they're one of the worst teams in the AFC, along with the Browns. I know people are high on Drake May. I don't think the Patriots are going to be any good. And I think the Titans will struggle with a rookie quarterback. I think those are the 4 worst teams in the AFC, and I'm with you. I think their quarterback situation might be worse than the Browns. Obviously, they're the 2 worst in the AFC. It's pretty bad. But even though he was there last year, as bad as he is at this point, I still would rather have Joe Flacco than either of those 2 quarterbacks. So yeah, it's a bad situation. I like their running game, Jonathan Taylor, but I don't like that team at all. So I'm with you. All right, folks, we appreciate you joining us today. Betting Weekly Fast Break coming your way at 3. We will be back tomorrow. Chris, are you with me tomorrow, or is it somebody else? I can't remember.
No, I'm not. I'm going to be on the road tomorrow. So,
all right. Well, going to Vegas.
I'll be seeing you next week at some point.
Well, I'm on vacation next week, so I won't be on next week. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Vacation.
Yeah, I'm going we're doing a little. You're going to Toronto and Niagara Falls, doing a little family trip. We're going to go for a drive. So there you go. But
nice.
It'll be Doug and I tomorrow. So me and Doug tomorrow. We appreciate everybody jumping in on the YouTube chat. Thanks to Shane and Alex for producing today. We'll talk to you next time on Betting Weekly Hardball.